Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. I'm your host, Jared Sebesta of Taatjes Financial Group, where we build purposeful retirement plans. At Taatjes Financial Group, we believe retirement planning is so much more than just preparing financially. Our goal is to help retirees and pre-retirees steward their time, talent, and treasure. We have the tools and proven process to make sure your retirement plan delivers the greatest purpose, impact, and legacy. If you need help building a purposeful retirement plan specific for your life and your retirement, please give us a call. Our number is 320-222-4236. You can request a meeting online at taatjesfinancial.com. And if you live in West Central Minnesota, just stop by our office. We're located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer, building purposeful retirement plans. Well, thank you once again for joining us here today. So glad that you're joining us here on Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. Just a quick reminder, last week, we talked about being more than just an account manager, what your retirement professional in your life should be doing. We went into greater detail as to what that relationship looks like between our firm, our advisors, and our clients. And this is something for people that maybe you're not working with a retirement professional, maybe you are and you want to get kind of a plumb line as to what you should be experiencing with that relationship. I encourage you to go back, listen to our show. You can find it a number of ways. First of all, you can go to taatjesfinancial.com. You'll see a list of all of the show archives there. We're on iTunes. If you're into podcasting, go to iTunes, search Time, Talent, Treasure Radio. We're also on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, check out our YouTube channel, Taatjes Financial. You'll see all of our playlists there. Make sure you go and subscribe while you're there. But plenty of ways to find our previous shows. But last week was a really, really good one. Ben Taatjes joins me on the show now today. And again, we need to understand, or at least people need to understand, what their retirement professional is there to do and how specifically we can help them in their journey.
Yeah, and the journey part's what I love, Jared. I mean, walking through people on their life journey is so much fun, and then tying in different financial strategies to accomplish goals. That's what I've been doing for 20 years. That's what I love doing. This weekend, I had the opportunity of going down to Tucson, Arizona, and was part of a Youth for Christ Champions event where I got to sit and listen to some of the absolute most generous people. Guys told stories of selling businesses and how they did it and how they were able to give back to in this case, Youth for Christ, but many people give to different organizations. But it was so cool to hear stories. And as I'm talking with these people, I'm like, this is what makes my job so fulfilling, is because you come in with a heart for ministry, you come in with a liquidity event, and then people like us are able to say, here's the way you can best do that by saving the most in tax and getting the most to your charity, and ultimately also for you. And I think that's part of it, that many people, they start hearing people talk about charitable giving and they start hearing about that side of things. And they're like, well, that means less for me. And they're almost like, does this mean that I'm going to miss out on something? I can tell you every single one of those stories, the people who had given away some of their company prior sale, or people that were charitable, they didn't miss anything. I can tell you that. In fact, they gained everything. And what's coming to me, and we're going off script here a little bit, but contentment and abundance. And both of those, many people would think it's a dichotomy, right? It's like these are very different things. It's clear you can't have a lot and yet be content. And what I learned and what I continue to see in our clients' lives is the people that are content many times live in abundance. And you're like, well, yeah, of course they are. They've got lots of things. I'm not actually even talking about money. I'm like, just the lifestyle itself they come at life just differently. And that's what I loved about this weekend.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So to me, the opposite of abundance from a mindset perspective would be scarcity. All right. So like, in your opinion, to talk about those two places by which we can, see the world, look at money, look at building wealth, look at charitable giving, how would you kind of walk through those two different ends of the spectrum?
Well, I look at scarcity as something that hopefully our clients don't see, right? They don't feel that because we've coached them into looking at life differently. Scarcity is like this: if you take a dollar and you hold it in your fist. And don't do this if you're driving and listening to us on the radio and driving, but take a $1 bill or maybe a $10 bill and crumple it up and hold on to it as tight as you possibly can and feel that tension in your hand, right? And do that for a minute. And a minute's a long time, and just feel it getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and then relax and just feel how much better that feels. When you have that feeling of, here's this money, yeah, I'm holding on to it loosely. Money comes in, money goes out. I can make more, right? I have an ability to create more income. You kind of, money loses its grip on you. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so important that people realize money, power, fame, all of it is simply a means. It is never the end, right? So many times in our society, we look at money, we look at what we have as being the end goal. The end game is like, I want people to know who I am. I want fame. I want power. I want, financial resources. Well, those are just means to the end. Our end is having a good life. Yeah. Is having a life where we can be with our family, a life where we can, I'm a person of faith, where we can do more for the kingdom, where we can add, just be creators and do things, right? Yeah. That's a life that's worth living. Mm-hmm. So many times the scarcity of what people think is like, oh, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to hold on to it even tighter. Right. And the easiest way to really lose it is to hold on to it too tightly.
Well, so like how are people supposed to think? Because the news in the market news last week wasn't great. Mm-hmm. So how are people supposed to take that? That doesn't land well when people hear that, especially retirees, where perhaps their income is dependent on market fluctuations. How is somebody supposed to overcome that and have more of an abundant mindset?
Well, you take a look from gratitude versus scarcity, right? Mm-hmm. So you look at it as being thankful for what you do have, and contentment, right? So you take a look and say, okay, I am so much better off today, most of these people are, than what they were, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The current cycle that we're in, from even the market cycle, has been a pretty robust one over the last several years. So there will be weeks where the markets are down, but we live in a very high interest rate environment now, which may be bad for some businesses, but for most people who have money in the bank, it's actually a positive thing. Right. I'm trying to get people to look at it differently, to say, okay, what is better in my life than it was a year ago, not what was worse. Mm-hmm. So if we can start with an element of gratitude, and I think you shared this with me, it's stuck in my mind. You had heard a speaker last week who had talked about being a person of gratitude, and they said something like, well, what are you thankful for? And people are like, well, I don't know what I'm thankful for. I think he said something like, well, you're not on fire.
Exactly.
Like literally, like everybody has something to be thankful for. Yeah. And that stuck with me because too many times I think we get down about, the markets were down 2% last week or whatever the numbers were, and we forget that they were up however many percent over the last year. Right. We look at the negative things going on in government, and we're like, well, what are they doing? It's like, well, we are still way better off than where we were many, many years ago. Are there challenges? Yes. We have to come at life through that lens of gratitude, abundance, versus scarcity.
Yeah, this message hits home with me because I was raised in scarcity, and up until very recently have started to kind of break out of that. I would say, on a personal note, when you look at the future in scarcity, you see it's not good. It's negative. It's as good as what it's going to get now. I'm as good as it's going to have it today than what's going to come tomorrow. The way that shifted for me is that tomorrow can be better. I can make it better. I have a mind that works, and I can create value, and so therefore I do have control to some extent over some of the things that happen. And it's a much different way to look at it, and it breaks that grip of money, and has in my life in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and what I would tell to somebody listening today is this sounds like a lot of the psychology of money. That's part of our job, Jared. That's part of a good advisor's job, is to say, let me help you look at your finances differently. Let me help you see them through the lens of what I see. And many times we do meet with somebody that's like, oh man, I only got $3 million. I'm like, do you know how good you have it? Like, do you understand? Yes. Oh, and you also got a pension. Well, yeah, you never know, that pension could. Right. And again, we have to not let the negative scarcity mindset come in, try to be more positive, right? Because at the end of the day, whether or not you die with $10 million or $5 million or $5, I said, we're all going to the same place.
Yes, absolutely. That's a really good point. Well, if you at home are ready to begin a purposeful retirement plan, now is the time to do so. There's a number of ways you can set up a no-cost, no-obligation meeting with us. First, give us a call at 320-222-4236. Request a meeting online at taatjesfinancial.com or stop by our office. We're located on 19th Avenue Southwest in Wilmer, building purposeful retirement plans. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Securities offered through Avantax Investment Services. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Avantax Advisory Services. Insurance services offered through an Avantax affiliated insurance agency.